What is up people, welcome back to the channel. Today what we're going to do is follow on from the previous video. So we focused on the best top 3 leg exercises to build the most muscle. Today what we're going to do is focus on the back. And what I'll quickly say before I give you my top 3 list is there's so many different exercises you can do for back. I'm not saying don't do the other ones, all I'm just saying is I'm highlighting my favourite. That's the whole purpose of this series, is just to share my insight of what I think are the best ones to include in your training, and if you're not doing them you might as well just have a wee go at them. Okay, on this list what I've tried to do is spread it out a little bit, hitting at different planes and hitting at different parts of your back. So upper back and lats are a really big focus of mine. So when it comes to actual training, you need to try and split up your back training so you're hitting different parts, not just the lats. I see a lot of people just hitting the lats, and yes, but at the same time your back training needs to be a bit more varied than that. Try and hit the upper back, try and hit the erector spinae as well. There's a lot of things you can do to try and hit most of your back. Don't just focus on your lats, because I know that's the trend just now, trying to get that width, but you're forgetting about the thickness as well, your back. Anyway, let's start with the list. Number 1 movement on my list is a lat pull down, so a proper lat pull down. When it comes to the lats, it's a shoulder extension movement. So when it comes to driving the arm down towards your side, like this, and in a normal lat pull down, it's very difficult to do that if the bar is very straight, you're out a little bit wider and you can't get your elbows tucked in. Also, what I will say is you're directly above, the bar's directly above you, so it's very difficult to stay in the active range for your lats, because at that moment in time it kicks off and your lats have a range of motion, the active range of motion, that will work them fully. I'll put it on the screen as well so you can actually see it's slightly in front of the body. Yeah, this movement I've chose is the the D handle plate loaded lat pull down. This one you're starting just above and just in front of your body. This is you perfectly positioning yourself in the active range. And when you're driving down, the D handles will allow some movement. What you can do is drive and supinate your hands, or just keep them nice and neutral, and that will allow you to fully shorten the lat muscle. Kind of kick myself a little bit back, but your angle should be the arm slightly in front of your body, and you should finish with your elbow driving down towards the side of your body or your hips. With every back movement I try to take my grip out it, so that's the reason why I'm using straps for this one. So I put it around the D handle. Yes, you could do this single arm, as this will isolate each side. If you have a weak side, or like my left side is slightly weaker than my right, what you might do is just want to focus on your left first, finish the set, and then hop over to the right and match the reps. You could also do this kneeling down with your knee against the pad so you're keeping stable. Another way you could do this is actually use a cable machine to do it, but try and keep yourself in the same angle and positioning as this one. And I would say this is much better than a pull-up in terms of building muscle in your lats and a regular lat pull down, so I would take note of this. So in terms of the way you should be feeling this, just underneath your armpit, so your teres major or your upper lats should be where you should feel this, not so much the lower. We'll focus on the lower later on. Okay, the second exercise that I would recommend focusing on is your bent over single arm row. I much prefer this to a normal bent over row because of the stability you get. You're putting your arm on the bench, trying to target the lower lats for this one, and that's why the positioning of your arms and the direction that you move the dumbbell should be towards your hips, and you shouldn't try to force your elbow as high as you can. It's not about that, it's driving the elbow towards the hips so you can focus on that lower lat. A few notes for this one: do not twist your trunk, so like do not twist your upper body to try and get that squeeze. It's not about that. You're trying to drive the elbow like the same as a lat pull down. You're trying to drive the elbow towards your body and into your hips, as this you get the proper movement for the lats. I'm edging my arms slightly in front of the body, and when I do drive up, I'm keeping everything pretty neutral and it's squeezing the elbow towards the hips. The reason I've chose this as well is I find this quite easy to overload compared to a normal bent over row. It gets to a point where my lower back might cave in. I've not got the stability that I would have in this one, and I much prefer it. Also is a unilateral movement, so that means you're working your weaker side before your stronger side, and it feels like you balance out. The way I like to do this is put the bench up slightly in an incline as I get better form. If it is too low, then I'm more parallel towards the floor when I want to have that slight increase in my height. If it's too high, then it's very difficult to get that movement. Also, we're using the straps here again, as this takes it away from our forearms, because at the end of the day we're working our back. You don't want to be working your grip here. Get the straps on so you can actually maximise how much you can lift. Okay, so the last exercise on this list will be the upper back seated row. So there's a few tips for this one. First thing, use straps, take the grip away from it. In terms of a seated row, you can't maximise how much strength you're going to gain from it by not using straps. Next thing is the direction of your elbows should be slightly flared out. Trying to work our upper back here, mid traps, even rear delts. Try and flare out the arms. Okay, range of motion of the movement. So you're working your thoracic spine, so mid back and upper back to the full extension. So I don't mind if you lean forward slightly. So you'll see in the video me slightly curving at the top, but keeping my lumbar spine, so the bottom, stable. So that won't bend, but the upper back will. So in terms of the upper back, you should be training the thoracic spine to full extension, getting the full range of motion, and then when you're coming back, that's when you should almost, oh my god, I cracked her. You should be sticking out your chest and leaning back slightly to get the full contraction of the upper back as well. And this one, you should be very careful with staying within your range of motion. So in terms of your lower back, keep that nice and fixed. In terms of the weight that you can lift, only lift how much you can actually lift. It's very important to actually control the weight and the contraction and the eccentric motion. And this is when I'm actually seeing the most progress. When I used to do upper back before, I never used to feel anything, whereas this one I feel the most. Definitely, if you're not doing this one, I would definitely incorporate it into your training if you can. Same as the last video, what I'm going to do is incorporate another bonus exercise, and it still will be the seated row. This one is going to be focused on your unilateral movement and a seated single arm row. In terms of this one, you could do it various different ways with your feet up on the platform. I like to lean all the way back so that my hip is against the pad and you're driving your elbow towards your hip as well. I like to have the working leg, the one where the knee's down, and the elbow. So if you're working your right hand side, I like the right knee down and the right elbow to be working. Same again, straps on, take the grip out of the equation. This is focused on the lower lats again, so kind of similar towards the single arm dumbbell row, but totally different angle that you're pulling in. This is another favourite of mine in which I've incorporated into my training, so if you're not doing it, I definitely recommend it. And same with all unilateral training, start with your weaker side, match the stronger side to the weaker side. So if you get 10 on your left, which is your weaker side, try and get 10 on your right, and then keep doing that. Okay, when it comes to actually training and making the growth, you need to be going to failure, because if you're maximising your growth, if you come 4 or 5 shy of failure, then you're not going to maximise how much muscle you can build in the breakdown. So get to failure each set, each working set. If you compare 2 people, one person does 2 sets to complete failure, 12 reps, but the other person gets 5 sets, but he's doing like 10 reps on a lighter weight and he's not going to failure. The person with the 2 sets will make much better progress than the other one. As I said before in this video, use straps. You're working your back, not your grip. In terms of rep range, I would stick between the 6 and 12 rep range when it comes to back training. We're staying within the hypertrophy rep range, so pushing yourself to failure, but staying within that. In terms of intensity as well, like I said, you want to be reaching failure within that rep range. So when it comes to like a dumbbell single arm row, I like to maybe cap it on 10 reps, try and reach failure on 10, whereas like the upper back row or the seated row, I could push towards a 12. And when it comes to building muscle, you should be eating slightly in maintenance or slightly above maintenance, so make sure you're getting that protein in and you're eating the right things. Like I said at the start of the video as well, make sure you're hitting various different parts of your back so you can get that all-round physique, and don't neglect any muscle. And what you might say is, why is there no deadlifts? Why is there no bent over row? Why is there no pull-ups? It's because I've chose certain exercises which I prefer doing, enjoy more, and it pretty much hits the same muscle. For example, what the pull-ups are pretty similar to the lat pull-down. In terms of the erect spiny, so at the lower back, I train that in an RDL, so there's no point me putting it in here. That's more like lower body for me. So there's various different ways to work your back. I've just chose 3 or 4, if you think the bonus, to hit the back. If you're wanting to learn anything more about training your back or any other muscle, please put them in the comments, or like I said before, you could message me on Instagram if you wanted a direct message. And if you can, put in the comment section what muscle group you wanted me to talk about more, and talk about my 3 favourite exercises for that muscle group. If you enjoyed a video like this, make sure to drop it a like, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, please make sure you're subscribing. We're growing every single day and I'm grateful for every single one of you. And if you wanted to, hit the notification bell. This will alarm you when I've uploaded a new video. Could be one like this. What I'll say as well, if you're interested in coaching, you could head over to my website and apply, or the link in the description will take you straight to the application form. I'll also put my Instagram and TikTok in the video so you can see. I post more daily on there, so you might want to check that out. And yeah, people, stay safe, stay positive, stay grateful, and I will see you in the next one.